when you see your horse coming down the stretch in a grade one or a graded stake or any race, whatever, that feeling that you have, that's what it feels like to score a goal in overtime or score a goal or lift the Stanley Cup. It's honestly not that far off.
Okay, so welcome.
Thank
This is
you.
fun.
Yes.
You were just saying before we sat down that it's been a long time since you've been to like Keeneland, the races.
Yes.
Uh, this is kind of a fun new space, right?
What I love about it, Gabby, is it feels timeless, but it's brand new, right? Like it feels like it has that age to it, but which is kind of keeping the tradition, but bringing something new. And I think it's beautiful. Yeah, it's a tremendous job done by everybody.
Well, welcome out.
Thank you.
So let's go back to October. You announced your retirement. You
Yes.
hung up the skates. How difficult was that decision, and what has life been like since then?
So I could give this a long-winded answer, which I probably shouldn't. So I'll kind of button it up a little bit, and I don't want to give a short one, but so the season ended in heartbreaking fashion for us in Colorado. I got traded back to Colorado at the trade deadline in March of 2025 I was in Philly, and I had played 14 years in Denver and then left and got traded back to Colorado kind of in a dramatic last minute deal. Didn't know what was going to happen. And I figured, you know what, this is my last year, let's go out and try and win a Stanley Cup with the team I spent so many years with. So I got traded back to Denver. We lost in the first round to our arch rival Dallas in game 7. And didn't know what the future was going to hold after that. I wanted to play another year. My body felt good. I've had a ton of injuries, but overall pretty good. Went into the summer. Free agency starts July 1st. So from mid-April to July, you're kind of just, is anyone going to call? So Colorado was kind of there. Are you going to come back? Are you going to come back? And I was thinking I was going to play. It ended up not working out in Colorado, and then I didn't really have anything the rest of the summer. So then retirement really crept into my mind July through September. I'm still training, kind of one foot in the door, one foot out the door, skating. But that time from July to September, October, when I wasn't sure I was going to play, it kind of got me ready to retire. So I got through the summer to September and October, and I had a few tryout offers, and I'd played 18 years. I just really wasn't interested. I had a tryout in New York. I had a tryout in the New York Rangers, the Pittsburgh Penguins, Toronto. Just didn't really want to do that after the career I'd had. So, I fast forward through September to October, and then it kind of became real at that point. And that time from July to October, though, was great because I kind of had that processing ability to just think that, okay, it could be over. And so that kind of got me ready. So when I did announce the retirement in October, I felt like I was prepared for it because I had all that time. So sorry for the backtrack, long
That gives
answer,
us
but that
context.
was kind of the context, if that makes sense. So it all came, to a head in
Does
October.
does panic set in a little bit, or like what are the range of emotions? Like I personally I knew that my days were numbered with what I was doing just because with the lifestyle, I couldn't travel every weekend anymore with 2 young kids.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Like I can only do this for so long. Was there a moment where you're like, what am I going to okay, retirement is pending. Like this is inevitable. What am I going to do? Or had you already had something else lined up? Like what were you feeling during that time?
That's a really good question. And I think there's just such an evolution of what you go through as you age. So I started in the league when I was 19, wet behind the ears, think you know everything, don't know anything. And I thought as I got from, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and I see these guys retiring at 36, 37, and I was like, there is no way I'm staying involved in the game. I'm going to go fish in Wisconsin. I'm going to go sit at the cabin and drink beer on the dock. I'm not going to have anything to do with hockey ever again. I want nothing to do with it. And then you get a little bit older and 30 hits and 31, 32. And to me, I'm a busybody. I'm like, I have to stay busy doing something. I can't just be done. You just can't. I just know I needed to have like a sense of purpose and just doing something. I couldn't just sit at the club and golf and then go fish and then, there's time to do those things. I just knew I needed to do something. So yeah, I did panic kind of thinking, wow, I need to stay stimulated, but I knew I didn't want to travel a ton. I didn't want to really work with the team because you take the games home, the wins and the losses. I was so tired of being competitive, if that makes sense. Just tired of, you know, that. And so the TV thing kind of fell into my lap, and I'm sure you'll ask me about that a little bit later, but that just kind of felt like something I wanted to be interested in and something I people thought I should try. So that was kind of like, yeah, there was a little panic. What am I going to do? I know I want to do something. I don't want it to feel like a job. Fortunately, I played long enough where I don't have to do anything, but what do I want to do to stay stimulated?
Mhm.
So there was a little sense of panic. I'm 37, almost 38. I got a whole life ahead of me. I couldn't just sit and, do this. It's great once in a while, golf, fish, and drink, but, not every day.
So, you mentioned something about bringing home the wins and the losses.
Yep.
I wanna ask you, and I know you brought us something very special in your pocket.
Oh, yes. Yep.
Mm, 2010
Yep.
Olympics.
Yep. Um, I figure it's a good time to bring this since the Olympics are going on. So this is our silver medal from Team USA in the 2010
Okay, I
Olympics.
promise I'm gonna sit back down where I
No, please take it. Yep. So that was in Vancouver.
Oh my gosh, I've never had an Olympic medal
I
before.
was 21
Heavy.
and we lost in overtime the gold medal game in Canada. We were behind enemy lines playing Canada, and we lost in overtime in the gold medal game. So I guess yes, cool, but I do still lose sleep over not having gold. I mean, if you think about it, individual sports, silver is amazing. Team sport, you're losing to get it. You lose the
Mhm.
game to get it. I mean, it's still a very cool honor. And I don't know if you can see the ripples, but they made the ripples like the mountains and the
Uh-huh.
ocean around Vancouver. So they kind of tied in the region to it, which is pretty cool. It's really heavy.
It is really heavy.
But yeah, kind of a cool moment in my career to have that. So
So you were how old?
I was 21. Um, so I got named to the Olympic team, yeah, when I was 21, and
So
yeah, crazy.
I know how I was when I was 21, and you don't have a lot of perspective on anything really at that time. I mean, it's a little bit better than when you're a teenager, but having won a silver but lost a gold, talk about the emotions that you felt in that moment versus if this happened to you when you were 35, do you think it would have been different?
Yeah, so I kind of got in a little bit of trouble, not trouble, but I made a comment after we got the medal that, I don't even want this silver right now. And people took it like how insulting to dismiss that. But, and that was 5, 10 minutes after the game had ended. You're emotional. You're all invested in your country. You're representing the United States of America at the Olympics, the highest level, and you had just had gold snatched, this far away from your fingers. So I think now I can reflect and think that is an amazing accomplishment and very cool. I'm very grateful, very lucky to have been on the team. But there's still a sliver in the back of my head where having gold would be pretty awesome. Having a Stanley Cup and a gold medal. I mean, Stanley Cup and silver isn't bad, but that's a pinnacle of all sports is to have a gold. But to have the silver is cool. And I think looking back, being a 21-year-old kid, essentially what I was, I think I appreciated it at the time. I definitely look back and appreciate it more. It's very, very cool accomplishment.
It's incredible. It's an incredible accomplishment just to get that far, and then the energy of that particular game going into
Do you
overtime.
remember rewatching? Do you
I was
remember it?
not
No,
watching, but I
okay.
rewatched it.
Yeah,
How
yeah,
old was
yeah,
I? I'm a couple years younger than you, so I was, I was still, I guess I was 2010.
yeah.
I graduated high school in '09.
Okay,
So
yeah, so we're close.
I
Yeah,
was watching,
yeah,
but
yeah,
not paying attention.
yeah.
So I had to
Okay,
revisit it, and it was
yeah,
an incredible game.
yeah. It was. It was. I mean, Canada had maybe every single player on their team was a Hall of Famer. We might have had one or two, so it would have been a huge upset. But I'll just complain about it.
But okay, so fast forward you to 2022. You brought home the Stanley Cup. How meaningful was it to win that, especially with the team that you had been on for how many
Yeah,
years
over a
to
decade. Yeah,
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 to achieve that together?
yeah, Gabby. It was very emotional because just 5 years previously we were dead last in the whole league. So a lot of guys that I grew with and developed a lot of friendships with, and when you're down in the dumps, you're embarrassed to be the worst team in the league, and then you really have to have a lot of inner belief, self belief, and belief of the people around you that it's going to get better. I think as an athlete, and that could really apply to a lot of people in a lot of different walks of life. At the end of the day, I had a great perspective on it because we're still in the best hockey league in the world, making millions of dollars playing a game, and we're complaining that we're the worst team in the NHL, and that sucked. But then you have to have perspective that some people can't put food on the table or buy gas or whatever. So yeah, that was really in our personal. I don't know if I can swear. You can
Go
bleep it
for it.
out,
We
but
can figure it out later.
that was in our personal, for our career personally. But just having that perspective of, yeah, we're a really bad team this year, but just how really lucky and grateful we are to be in the position we are. And then fast forwarding 5 years to winning the Stanley Cup and knowing how far back and how bad we were, and just growing with those teammates and friends of mine over that time. And some I had played with since 2011, 2012, 2013. So to go through that journey with someone to reach the pinnacle of your sport after going through some really tough times made it that much sweeter, especially it was towards the end of my career. And just to go through that with those guys, the ups and the downs. I think if it happened earlier in my career, then that's what I told some of the younger guys on my team, Gabby. I said, you might never do this again. They're 19, 20, 21. They win the Stanley Cup. Soak this in and appreciate it because you don't know if you'll ever be back. So I think that perspective of having that happen to me later in my career really made me appreciate it that much more. Just have my parents around. They're 70, so they were still around. They're still around to be able to experience that with me. It was really special.
It's so nice of you to share that wisdom too with the younger guys that are coming up, because sometimes it does take those mentors or those teammates to make you appreciate the moment a little bit more.
Absolutely, and it's no different than being in horse racing. I mean, if you enter the game and you win a grade one in your first few months of owning horses, it is not really going to get any better than that,
Mhm.
probably, unless you're the luckiest person alive. So you're almost better off going through a little bit of lumps early, whether it's sports, life, horse racing,
Mhm.
because it kind of hardens you a little bit and makes you realize, okay, this is what it's really like, but there are lights at the end of the tunnel.
You had fun with the Stanley Cup, I feel like. I've
Oh,
definitely
yeah.
I see pictures
Understatement.
of you obviously in bed with it,
It,
him, her, I don't know,
it's fine.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
A lot of horse
and
racing people had fun with it too. Yep.
yeah, well, okay, so I don't have my phone anywhere near me,
I didn't know
actually.
you
That
then.
was incorrect.
I would have invited you to the party.
I didn't know, but I had friends that know you, and it's so funny. I don't know where my phone is, but I'll have to send it to you later. I have a selfie because I was reporting, that was Flightline
Oh,
Pacific
yeah, that's right.
Classic.
Yep.
I have a selfie, and you're standing behind me with the Stanley Cup
Oh,
in the paddock.
oh, really?
And it was like, I don't know, it was at some point during the race day.
I
Um,
was completely bombed by that point of the day. We had a mechanical issue with our plane on the runway, and didn't think we were going to make it. So we just sat on the plane for like 2 hours and just drank. So when we got there, and I didn't even remember that, so I apologize, but
Oh, you're good.
we were completely gone. Yeah.
I vaguely remembered it until I was looking back through my, photos, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, I took a selfie, so I'll have
Oh,
to
that's
send it to you
fun.
later."
Yeah, yeah, definitely show
But
that
I
to me.
love that you toured with it, and obviously I think that's what's so fun about how you even managed your career in hockey and your love of horse racing is that you kind of brought everybody into the fold, even in celebrating that moment. And I thought it was like really cool that you brought it out to Del Mar on such a big day too, and just like everybody in racing could almost celebrate with you.
Yeah, it was the timing worked out great, Gabby. And I think the best thing about big moments in your life, no matter who you are and what you accomplish, special moments are best shared with special people around you. So I think to involve people that impacted me on a positive level at any point in my life or career, I tried to invite or share that with people. And not only friends or family, but fans of the Colorado Avalanche and mine or whatever. I just wanted, it's not just it's not an individual accomplishment. It takes so many people around you. And that day was great because we had the party there and I had two or 300 of my best friends and family. And those moments, you don't want to celebrate anything with, two or three people. You want to go big and do
Go
it
hard.
big. So yeah, it was great. I mean, just special moments are best shared with special people. And that's what we tried to do that day.
So let's talk a little horse racing. I'm very curious. What was your first memory of horses or horse racing? Like, what was the entry point for you?
Yeah, so I get asked this question quite a bit, and I've tried to think, really far back. When do I really remember it first? And I know I always watched the Derby growing up, NBC or whatever was on ESPN at the time. And I don't think I remember watching Zenyatta, but I think I remember watching Big Brown. I
Okay.
think I remember Big Brown. I remember Animal Kingdom, but I didn't really get involved. And actually, let me backtrack. So I first went to a horse race in Del Mar probably in no, not 19, 2001 maybe. So I was 13, something like that, maybe 12. And my uncle owns a bunch of grocery stores out that way called Jimbo's. So we'd always go out there. It's like an organic grocery store, great juice bar, great food. So my uncle would always have my parents, my sister, and I. We'd go out to Del Mar every summer and stay with them, go to the beach. And one year, one of my friends came from Minnesota, and he's like, "The horse races are going on right now. Let's take a cab and go down there, and we can bet." And we're like 13 years old. I'm like, "How are we going to bet?" He's like, "No, I got it. We'll figure it out." So we took a cab right to the front gates of Del Mar, and I vividly remember looking up and just seeing, how beautiful it is. You've been there many times and looking up, and it was just a beautiful day. The energy, the buzz of all the people. We got in, and he's like, "You can bet on a horse to finish third, and you win money." And I'm like, "How can you bet on a horse to lose and you win?" He's like, "Just do it." So we bet on this 21-1 horse or something, and
Wait, how did you place the bet?
I was like probably 5'9", 5'10" at the time, so
Okay.
they
Nobody
didn't
asked
say
questions.
anything. Yeah, we just went up and we're like, $5 show or whatever. We walk up, $5 third, and they're like, show. We're like, yes. So this horse finishes second, and I'm all pissed off because I thought it had to finish third. He's like, "No, if it finishes first, second, or third, you win the third place bet." And I'm like, "This is the greatest thing ever." So I was cursed right away, true degenerate from the start, and that's what I first remember in horse racing. And then as the years progressed, I followed the Derby and watching those races. I just thought it was fascinating. And if you're a average fan in America, you think it's the Derby and that's it. Preakness, Belmont, and then you think it goes away and nothing happens till maybe the Breeders' Cup if you hear about that. Maybe since it's gotten a little bit bigger. But that's in my mind, I was like, oh, Derby, Preakness, Belmont, that's it, goes away. But so fast forward maybe to 2015, I first bought a share in a horse with Team Valor, and then I got hooked up with Paul Redham and Doug O'Neill and Dennis O'Neill. Paul's a huge hockey fan, Detroit Red Wings fan, obviously with Nyquist and Pavel and all these horses that he's had. So I got hooked up with them in 2015, and I've been in the game ever since, and I love it.
How has that evolved? Like you obviously have owned several racehorses, but now, and I'm sure you've had mares for a long time. I'm only seeing it now because stalking your Instagram.
Yeah,
But
great.
um, you, first of all, you like have traveled cross country to witness like the foalings of some of your mares. I love horses. I don't even know that I would do that. Why is that so important to you? Why is that moment so important to you?
Well, Gabby, I've never seen a foaling in person. So over the years, I've had most of my mares at Claiborne, good friends with Walker, and I've always tried to time a break in my schedule when I was playing to go see a foaling. It never worked out, just never worked out. So bummed. They would send videos. They would have like webcams I could sign into and watch. And I think I just love animals. I have 6 dogs, so that's a chore in itself. But I love animals. I had cats growing up. I have dogs now. I love horses. I'm just an animal lover. I just love them. And I think that's where it starts is just the love of the animal. And horses are just such majestic, beautiful creatures and soulful and want to please. And I've always wanted to see a foaling. And lucky enough, I did a game for ABC/ESPN in Detroit on the January 31st. Caught a plane right after, went to dinner, got home. Night watchman was like, she's waxing, she's dripping milk, she's gonna foal tonight. And I got to help, assist in the delivery. Her name's Snaffle. I bought her actually here at Keeneland in January in foal to domestic product, and so she has a great domestic product. Colt on the ground, he's awesome.
What was that like? And I think one of the most incredible, when I was younger, we lived on a 100-acre farm out in Maryland,
Oh
and
wow.
we bred a lot of horses. I witnessed several foalings as well, and I think one of the most incredible pieces to that experience is how quickly a foal can stand up on its 4 legs, and the relationship immediately, even if it's a first-time broodmare mom,
Yep.
the relationship and you just see nature playing
I
out
was
in
just
front of
thinking
you.
nature, right? Yeah.
But how was that experiencing this experience for the first time?
Well, I'm such a nerd. Like, I'll video everything and I'll send it to my family, and they're like, wow, or friends, and they're like, wow, how does it stand so quickly? And you think, that's a great question, but they're prey animals, right? So in the wild, they had to get up and run away from predators, right? So it's just nature, like you said. And just the whole thing is just really magical. And how the moms know to, start licking their babies right away. And the babies, most of the time, are pretty smart and will stand up and nurse. Yeah, it's a really magical experience, and I was grateful enough to be there for the first. It was my own mare, and to see the foaling was really really magical. And so much goes in when you think about it. Going kind of back to the Derby, how hard is it to get a horse to the Derby, let alone win? How hard is it to foal a mare and a baby that's healthy, that can get to the sale, that can vet, that can do all? I mean, it's so difficult just to get these horses to the sale, let alone win a race. And people get upset about winning a maiden 20, or my horse only won a maiden 20. But how hard is it even to get a
You're
horse to
like,
that
yeah,
point?
made it 20.
Or maiden 50 or maiden special weight? It's so difficult to get a horse to the sale, let alone the races, let alone a graded stakes race, let alone the dirt. It's so many people behind the scenes, and it's really incredible. And just to get more people access to that, I think is important.
It's so true. When you're at a high level, you really start to take it for granted. I don't want to say that, and I don't want to put words in other people's mouths, but you know, again, growing up in Maryland, I went to Laurel and Bowie Racetrack, and like that's and on the East Coast in the Mid Atlantic Circuit, like between Delaware. We were lucky if we got to run a horse in New York or Keeneland. And that's why, to your point, it's great to even get to the point where you're competing in a claiming race at a place like Keeneland. Like
Yeah.
that is an honor in itself, just the amount of things that have to happen in order for, you to
Oh,
win a
it's
race even
crazy.
at
Yeah,
Keeneland.
it is crazy.
So, what's your plan with all these? How many mares do you have? And then are you hoping to breed to race or breed to sell or a combination of it all?
So I have 6 at my farm, and then I have 2 at Claiborne, and I breed to sell. I want to sell the dream. I've raced. I love racing. It's so difficult, to do, and I still do race, but I'm primarily going to sell all the babies as weanlings, maybe as yearlings, if one, has a hiccup or something. But plan is to sell as weanlings, and yeah, had a great November sale. With
That was
yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
Remarked.
yeah. The dam of Sci-Fair won the juvenile turf sprint at the Breeders' Cup, and then her Nyquist filly as her half sister. So that was fun, and
Hmm.
yeah, I didn't
Must
think I'd
have
ever
been
sell a
like,
$1 million horse, so that was fun. Yeah,
I mean, you've been to the Olympics, you won a silver, you won the Stanley Cup, but being able to sell a horse for over $1 million at Keeneland, that must have been kind of like high up, given your passion
yeah,
for this sport.
yeah. So people have asked me, what's it like to, score a goal or win the Stanley Cup, and I can describe it or relate it to people in horse racing. When you see your horse coming down the stretch in a grade one or a graded stake or any race, whatever, that feeling that you have, that's what it feels like to score a goal in overtime or score a goal or lift the Stanley Cup. It's honestly not that far off. Like that adrenaline rush that you get when you see your horse coming down the stretch and he's going to hit the wire. Won a grade one here at Keeneland with Bowie's Hero, I think maybe 8 years ago, and that feeling coming down the stretch when they're about to hit the wire and win, it's not that far off than being a professional athlete and having those moments. I don't know, it's pretty close racing
Do you
to
think that's why
playing.
there is a lot of overlap between professional athletes and racing?
Has to be.
Okay.
That adrenaline is so close that it's so tough to replicate, but it's pretty damn close seeing your horse. Even if you sell a horse for 100 grand, I mean, that's not easy to do. Sell for $1 million, win a grade one, any grade. I mean, it's so hard to do. It's very, very close to the feeling you get as an athlete in those big moments.
It can take your breath away sometimes.
Good and bad,
Good
right?
and
Yeah.
bad, good and bad. So you also I feel like you are really, I mean, you've been involved in the sport for a long time, but now you're kind of taking those next steps for almost like establishing a legacy in this sport with purchasing land in Lexington. Um, how did that come about, and what's your plan with the new farm that you bought here? Which,
Yeah,
congratulations, that's
thank
a huge
you.
step.
Yeah, thanks. The timing was great. And so the backstory is I've kind of always wanted land or a farm out here. I think Lexington is just, I don't want it to get too popular because it is a quaint, really beautiful little town, but I think it's got great energy, wonderful people, wonderful restaurants. I really love Lexington. It's got a really great vibe, and I've always come here the last 10 years. My God, I'd love a place here. Gosh, I'd love a place here. And Gabby, I almost pulled the trigger maybe 8, 9 years ago on a place, and I didn't, and I kind of regretted it. And then you see these prices go up, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, why didn't I do it then? But so I've always wanted a place, and I was coming out here early December this past year, and I love UK games. I love going to the basketball games, and
Be very popular here
yeah,
after that comment.
I love it. I love it. So I got gear and all that stuff. So Walker Hancock has season tickets, and I've gone to a few games with him. He invited me. He's like, come out. And so the night before, I always kind of was looking on these websites for farms and never really anything. It's either too far or too much work to do. Or so I looked up. I used Zach Davis and my realtor and looked on his website, and I found this place off Leestown, the old timber town, Wayne and Kathy Sweezy's place, and it was on the market for like 6 or 7 months. I have not seen this. How did I miss it? So I look through. I'm like, man, this looks like something I'm looking at. I didn't want anything too big. It's like 50 acres. It's perfect. Just put a few of my mares on there. And so I set a tour up with Zach the next day. I landed at like 2. I had the tour at 3. The game was at 8 or something. So I drove through. I'm like, wow, this place is pretty beautiful. It's not far from town, 10, 15 minutes, 15 minutes to Keeneland. And drove through that afternoon. Gosh, I really love this place. I just retired. I have time.
Everything's falling in line.
100% depreciation, all this stuff, the tax benefit and all that. And so I put an offer in a day later and came to an agreement with Kathy and Wayne and closed on it 30 days after that. And yeah, now I have 3 babies on the ground, 6 mares, a couple people working there, and it's been fun. It's been a learning experience. Um, I know a lot less than I thought I did. I have a lot to learn, but really enjoying the experience and learning from people that do know a lot. And I'm just asking a lot of questions and keeping my ears open and listening to people that are working there and taking advice from good friends like Walker and John Secura and Doug and Katie Cawthon do all my bloodstock, so asking them a lot of questions. So I find in this game, Gabby, you have to have people working for you that you can trust, that are honest, because let's be honest, there's some bad apples out there, and you have to have good instincts and you have to have a lot of luck. I would say those are the 3 things you need. Probably luck, number 1. Luck, honesty, and instincts. And with the farm, I kind of went instincts and hoping I have luck, and had people guiding me, I think, that are honest. So we'll hope it all works out in the end. But I've been in the game 10 years and plan to be in it for a long time.
Is that the advice that you would give to someone maybe at your level who wants to get into the sport? I feel like a lot of people want to get into the sport for racing purposes alone,
Hmm.
but what would be kind of your kid tip to someone who wanted to get in? Would it, knowing what you know now after, being invested in it for so long?
Yeah, I think the first thing I would do, Gabby, is if someone asked me, I'm getting into the game, what do I do? I would say claim 1 filly for 75,000 or less. Decent pedigree, look at the rags and sheets, look at the DRF, and go from there. I've claimed a horse for 50 and a horse for 25, and one place in a grade one won a grade 3 at Torrey Pines at Del Mar, other place in the Malibu. Sold one for 400, the other for 800. Claim and just try and get lucky and see if you like it. Don't buy a yearling. Sorry, I know this is a big yearlings auction
Or you
house.
can
Buy a yearling, but if you're getting into the game, claim a filly.
diversify your portfolio.
Yes, but just start. You buy a yearling, you have to wait.
Hmm.
You don't know if it's going to work out.
Yeah.
Claim a horse, see if you like it. You get all the bills right away. You know what's going to happen. And don't do it all by yourself. Get 4 buddies. Everyone takes 25%. Claim a horse, 75,000 or less. See if you like it. I think that's the best way to get into the game. Or take a share in a syndicate. But those are great, and I learned a ton from those syndicates. But it's fun making your own decisions with the horse. And if you own one by yourself, you get to do that. You get to essentially own your own sports franchise, right?
Yeah.
So if anyone's getting into the game, that would be my advice. Claim a horse, see if you like the racing, because you're not gonna. I've never met anyone get in the game that just buys a mare, or that's how you get started. Some people do, and that's great.
Hmm.
But I think most people want to, they see the Derby, like I want to win the Kentucky Derby. Yeah, everyone does. You're probably not going to do it.
Winning is just fun.
Winning is just fun with your
Hmm.
friends. It's no different than I and sorry if I'm off tangent here, but owning a horse is like joining a country club. You are going to make a ton of friends. You're going to enjoy it. You're going to be out the money that you put in to join, and you're going to have monthly bills to keep it going. You have to love it to do that and enjoy it. So that's kind of how I explain it to people.
It's cool though, because you can bring in a whole new community and you can bring your friends and your family and experience everything with them as well. Are we good on time or should we keep? Okay. I do have one more question though before we wrap up. I want to ask you quickly about, out of curiosity, your new career in broadcasting.
Yes.
How's it going? What lessons have you learned in that? And are you liking it? Are you having fun?
Yeah, it's been fun, Gabby. So I think I had no expectations going into it. I thought I would really like sitting at the studio at the desk and just doing the intermission reports and all that. And I had an opportunity to be in the booth at a game and do color analysts, and I just loved it. It's a really the scariest thing about retiring is you get out of that routine. As athletes, we're so routine based, and you're just used to that routine your whole career. And being a color analyst is the routine is almost exactly the same. You wake up, you go to the morning skate, you talk to the coaches, you go back, you have lunch, you do your prep, you go to the game, and then I don't have to worry about getting my body ready. You know, how does my knee feel? How does my hip feel? I don't care about I don't care about that anymore. I just have to be able to sound passionate, and that's kind of the gist, and know what you're talking about. But I got into the first thing was I got an agent. ESPN called my agent, and they like players fresh out of the game that can talk about it and whatnot. So I did. I didn't want to be super busy my first year in retirement. I wanted to go hunting, or I wanted to travel and do things I couldn't do this time of year when I was playing. So I haven't been super busy. I've done 4 or 5 games up to this point, but I have about 12 down the stretch here in March and April into playoffs, and it's cool. Like, I'm between the benches. It's a little bit weird because I'm in a suit. I'm used to play against all these guys, and now I'm have to critique them or compliment them. And certain guys I battled with and didn't like, and you kind of have to be
It's a little awkward.
complimentary. But yeah, so it's been an adjustment, but it's been super fun. I really like it. ESPN has been great, great travel, great hotels, and just kind of I have a new team now. And that's my play-by-play guy and the producer and the graphics guy and the replay guy and the director. There's so like talk about behind the scenes of getting a horse to the races. Talk about behind the scenes of getting production of a TV show, right? I mean, you just
Yeah.
see the talent on TV, but there's so many, and you got the producer in your ear, and it's pretty crazy. I've really enjoyed it. It's been a total blast, and my hockey agent, he watched me the other day. He goes, I don't want to offend you, but you might be better at this than when you when you played. And I'm like, I don't know if that's good or bad because you didn't think I was very good, did you? No, but it's a pretty funny compliment. But yeah, it's been fun. I think I'm really gonna enjoy doing it, and it's been a really good transition from hockey to broadcasting.
Yeah, that would be the thing that getting to know w- all the people behind the scenes and having an appreciation and an understanding of what they do,
Oh,
I
and
think,
right? It's
yeah,
crazy. I
it
mean,
is.
there's so
Some
many
people don't
people,
think that that's important, but it is very, very important.
like people that were in your position.
Maybe.
Yeah,
No. I mean, and it really hit hard, I think, during COVID
yeah.
when, like, we had to do our own setups and home and everything like that, and you really quickly find out, you're like, "Wow, I know
It's
absolutely
insane.
nothing,
It's insane. Yeah,
and I
exactly.
need to learn more."
And I asked a
Yeah.
ton of questions, and I had people that Eddie Olczyk was one. I asked him a ton of questions just about what do I do, and I
Presentation,
went to a
preparation.
broadcasting camp in New York with the NHL just to see if I would like it. I liked it. You just have to ask questions, have good relationships. Relationships are so important,
They are
so important.
in anything that you do.
Yeah, don't burn bridges. At one point, you'll need to, maybe that person will pop back up, but yeah, it's not worth it. But sorry,
Well,
I've been too long-winded with
no,
my
thank
answers. You
you.
got less.
Cheers to that, and
Cheers. Yeah,
from
thanks.
afar,
Thanks for having
and
me.
yeah, thanks for coming, and
Pleasure.
good luck with your farm
Thank
and
you.
everything
I
moving
need it.
forward.
I need it. I'll see you at the races.
All right.
Thank you.
Cool.